Hello there, Warhammer Fantasy fans. This is Warhammer with Sheeb. Sheeb here giving you another battle report. This time I've got High Elves versus the Warriors of Chaos. And again, we're going to be using Battle Chronicler just because I want to try out new armies and I really want to build a High Elf list full of Frostheart Phoenixes. So I thought I'd give it a shot before I actually went out and purchased a bunch of Frosthearts. I decided to pin him up against what I think is probably the epitome of filth on the internet right now. Warriors of Chaos, Nurgle build with the Demon Prince, and a whole bunch of other nastiness. So the scenario I rolled up is Battle for the Past, and Warriors of Chaos get to deploy their force first, so it's going to be on the short half of the table legs. We'll start with the Warriors of Chaos. We have some Chaos Warhounds. We have a big unit of trolls led by none other than Throg, the Troll King. We have a Chimera, a Demon Prince of Nurgle with wings, and we have a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. We have a Gore Beast Chariot, and then we have another Nurgle Chariot. On the High Elf side, we have 5 Shadow Warriors up here in the forest, which they find out they cause fear when they are in the forest. If the majority of the models are in, only 2 are, so not a big deal in this scenario. We have a Frostheart Phoenix, number 2, a block of archers. This is 30 archers strong. Then we have an Anointed of Assyrian on a Frostheart, of course. Then I'm rocking a Dragon Mage, and he's on the Sun Dragon, because I needed to have some magic in this army. And I think the dragons are always really cool and really neat to try out. Then I get another Frostheart Phoenix with 17 archers. Just having some more arrow fire is never a bad thing, especially when you're facing an army who's going to be charging you. So the exact number of trolls in the list is 12 plus Throg. So it's a sizable force. The Demon Prince is rocking the Lore of Death. I debated about making it a complete Nurgle theme, but Lore of Death seemed to be quite fitting for making him as filthy as possible. And then, my Dragon Mage is going to be a level 2 wizard on fire, and the Demon Prince is a level 4 wizard. So, without further ado, let's get to turn 1. Okay, so for first turn, we have the High Elf player just moving things up just a little bit, just to get into a better position. The Shadow Warriors move out of the forest, and everything just kind of moves up. The Frosthearts move up, the Dragon Mage, the Anointed, and the other Frostheart. The Magic phase, we have 9 dice to 4, which gives an extra attack on the Frosthearts. And right away, they use their 6 dice on the Flame Cage. Oh, I forgot to tell you what spells they have. The High Elves have Fireball and Flame Cage, and the Demon Prince has Spirit Leech, Caress of Laneth, Soul Blight, and Feign of Bunja. So, went for the really character snipes, the really killy spells. So, 6 dice, Flame Cage on the Trolls, which is amazing because now they take D6 flaming hits, and they're not going to be moving. So as long as I can keep these trolls not moving and not in combat, I should be okay. The shooting phase, we got 13 hits from the big archer unit, 3 of them which wound and cause another troll to die, and that's because their flaming attacks from the flame cage took off their regen, so sweet deal. The 17 archers at the bottom shoot at the chariot, make a wound, but it's armor save because these chariots have ridiculous armor, and strength 3 bows just do nothing to heavy armor. So that's High Elf turn 1. Let's go to Warriors of Chaos turn 1. No charges, everything just moves up into guaranteed charge range for next turn, even though it was quite aggressive and the High Elf player could be given some easy charges. I think the fact that they're fighting against the wall of Nurgle is really going to be intimidating. So the Warhounds move up, everything else kind of moves up. For the Magic phase, the Demon Prince rolls double 6s, and that's 12 dice to 7. That's the second time in a row that the High Elf Dragon Mage has channeled. So right away, 5 dice Spirit Leech on the Dragon Mage, which manages to sneak 1 wound through, and the Dragon Mage is already down 1 wound. Could have been a lot worse, though. The demon player then chucks 4 dice at the Caress of Laneth, and it would have gone off. However, the High Elf player decides to Dispel Scroll that, because we need that Dragon Mage alive for any sort of removal of regen and keeping those trolls at bay with the Flame Cage. Alright, with the remaining 2 dice, he fails to cast the Fate of Boonja, which could have totally put my Dragon Mage over the edge, but I really thought my Dragon Mage was gone first turn. And then we go to no shooting, no combat. That's the end of Warriors of Chaos turn 2. Sorry, turn 1. High Elves turn 2. Charges. We have the Anointed on a Frostheart going into the Demon Prince, who holds. Also a Frostheart going into the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, who also holds. And then we have the 2 Frosty, or the other Frosty, moving around to the side of the trolls. And the Dragon Mage moving back with his dragon just to get a little bit further away from those evil death magic, death snipes. So magic phase, we got 7 dice to 4, which means +1 attack for the Frosties. Again, 6 dice, Flame Cage on the trolls. It goes off irresistibly. However, the Dragon Mage only rolled a 9, which means he lost his last dice, and the Wizard suffers a Strength 6 hit. And the Dragon Mage would have died had he not had the Charm Shield, which removes that first hit on him. 3 more wounds on the trolls, then another troll dies, and no regen. Alright, so shooting phase, we have 1 wound on a troll, 1 wound on a chariot, but the chariot again makes its armor save because it's ridiculously armored. And the combat, we have the Anointed versus the Demon Prince. The Anointed knocks off the Demon Prince's Charm Shield, so both Charm Shields are gone now. The Frosty fails to wound, and the Demon Prince attacks back twice, but they get their armor saves made, and the Frosty versus the Shaggoth, 3 wounds, no saves on the Shaggoth, and the Shaggoth attacks back, and he causes 1 wound on the Frosty, but he makes his 5-up ward, and that thing is kind of a beast, that Dragon Ogre. I totally underestimated that. So let's move on to Warriors of Chaos turn 2. For charges, we have the dogs going into the Shadow Warriors, who elect to stand and shoot. Both the Gore Beast Chariot and the regular Nurgle Chariot fail to make it into the archers, who also stand and shoot, but do not manage to get any wounds through later on. The movement phase, we have the Chimera moves up to be in a really aggressive position, so that if the Dragon Mage then decides to move back further, he's going to get a Chimera in the face. So, and we move on to magic. 8 dice to 6. So we decide to 6 dice Spirit Leech again. We really need this Demon Prince, this Dragon Mage taken out. It goes off. However, they both roll a 1 against their leadership. And since the Demon Prince has a higher leadership by 1 wound goes through. But the lucky Dragon Mage with his 6-up ward manages to save himself, and he is feeling so lucky right now. With the remaining 2 dice, the Warriors of Chaos player casts boosted Caress of Laneth, but fails to go off because he rolled really poorly. They have no shooting, and in combat, the Anointed wounds the Demon Prince, and the Frosty fails to wound. However, the Demon Prince wounds the Anointed back, and the Frosty versus the Shaggoth manages to get 2 wounds through on the Shaggoth, and the Shaggoth attacks back and puts 2 wounds back on the Frosty. The Shadow Warriors kill 2 dogs with their stand and shoot reaction, and then in close combat they manage to kill another 2 dogs, leaving 1 left, and 1 Shadow Warrior died in the exchange. So, High Elves turn 3, we have the Dragon Mage getting out of there. He doesn't want to be charged by a Chimera. And the Frostheart moves totally behind the trolls, like so. For the magic phase, we have 9 dice to 5, which gives the Frosthearts +1 strength. Flame Cage, again, goes off again. The High Elf player Dragon Mage, just 6 dice is Flame Cage, needs those trolls to stay out of combat and doing nothing, and for their regen saves to be taken away. The Warriors of Chaos use 5 dice to try and dispel it, but they roll really poorly. But they are really close to dispelling it, but I think they fail by like 1 or 2. So that causes 2 wounds on the trolls, but since it was flaming, they don't get their regen. Next, the Dragon Mage then casts semi-boosted Fireball, the medium one, at Throg's trolls, which goes off irresistibly to the Dragon Mage's much dismay, I'm sure. Causes 4 wounds, 2 trolls are now dead. Luckily, the Dragon Mage only rolled an 8 on the miscast, so he takes a strength 6 hit, which he failed his armor save, but look out, he also makes his 6-up ward save again. This Dragon Mage is getting really lucky. He should have been dead a few turns ago. In the shooting, we got 4 more wounds on the trolls caused by this block of 30 archers. Now that regen's gone, their strength 3 bows are far more effective than they would have been had they had regen. And in combat, the Demon Prince manages to kill the Anointed, and that's to be expected. However, the Frosty puts a wound on the Demon Prince, and the Frostheart is now stupid on the monster reaction table. So there we go. There's the Shadow Warriors reforming, and the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth is destroyed by the last Frostheart Phoenix. So, Warriors of Chaos turn 3. Alright, we got the Gore Beast Chariot making a fairly long charge into the 17 archer block on the bottom. And we also have a failed charge by the other Chariot of Nurgle. Chimera doesn't want to sit there and do nothing, so he charges into the archers, who I believe elected to stand and shoot and did not get any wounds through. So that was really unfortunate for the High Elf player. However, the magic phase goes 4 dice to 2, so 4 dice Spirit Leech gets it off irresistibly, manages to kill the Dragon Mage. The dragon is immobilized and sort of just stays in one spot to guard the remains of the fallen Dragon Mage. However, because it went through irresistibly, the Demon Prince takes a strength 10 hit and goes down to 1 wound. Spoilers, in combat the Frosty kills the Demon Prince, and shooting it, nothing happens. But in combat also, the archers, both archer units do outstanding for considering what they're up against. So, Frosty kills the Demon Prince. The Chariots do 6 impact hits and kill 5 High Elves archers just straight out. The High Elves fight back and can't put a wound through on the armor save down here on the Gore Beast Chariot. And the Chimera kills only 2 Elves. The Elves actually end up fearing the Chimera, putting them down to weapon skill 1. However, since the Chimera totally flubbed all of his attacks, including his stomps and including his D3 tail attacks, through combat res, it actually ends up that the archers tie the Chimera because they have a banner in there, they have more ranks. Oh, they must have put a wound on him in combat then for them to tie. Anyways, since the archers have a musician, it actually goes to the archer, and the Chimera loses combat, breaks, and the archers run him down. So there's the Gore Beast Chariot running down those archers, and there's the archers running down that Mountain Chimera. That is huge and awfully devastating. Demon Prince is gone, the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth's gone, the Chimera's gone. It's not looking good for the Warriors of Chaos player. Alright, High Elf turn 4. No charges, everything kind of just shimmies forward and jumps behind the trolls, getting into better positions. The magic phase is 4 dice to 2. The Frosties get +1 attack, but since the Dragon Mage is dead, nothing really happens during the magic phase. Shooting, they put a wound on the Chariot, but it makes its armor save, and the Shadow Warriors move up to shoot at the trolls, and I believe they managed to put 1 wound on, but the trolls, since they have 3 wounds, no one dies. Alright, Warriors of Chaos turn 4. The trolls make a long charge into the archer unit, not believing that they could totally make that. Combat looks like that. And seeing that they would have made it. Okay, let's go back here. Warriors of Chaos turn 4. The trolls attempt a really long charge against the archer unit, but the archers say screw that, and they flee. And the trolls stumble forward, not being able to reach their redirect test into the Shadow Warriors, and they stumble forward like that 4 inches. The Gore Beast Chariot and the Chariot of Nurgle move into better positions so that they can charge the archers or whomever next turn. In the magic phase, we got 5 dice to 4, but the Demon Prince is dead, so nothing's cast, and the shooting in combat, nothing happens. So, High Elf turn 5, High Elf player just moves up behind the trolls and says, turn and face me if you want. Magic phase, 7 dice to 5, which gives the Frosties +1 strength. Still a deterrent for the trolls if they want to turn around and charge. Shooting, managed to kill 1 wound on a troll through the Shadow Warriors, and the archers turn around and also attempt to shoot at the trolls, but I think they don't put any wounds on. Which brings us to Warriors of Chaos turn 5. So the trolls do make a long charge, needing I think a 16. The archers elect to stand and shoot. The Gorebeast Chariot then charges in, and having said that I was going to stand and shoot, I was kind of like, oh crap. Now I can't flee from this Gorebeast Chariot, which is what I was planning on doing. And the other chariot moves up here just in case I did flee. He could charge me off the board. So I thought that was pretty good, pretty creative. After combat, it goes really bad. The Gorebeast Chariot comes in and does like 6 impact hits. The trolls with all their high strength attacks, they don't do a whole lot. I think 12 or 13 archers die. I managed to actually lose combat, and then during my flee, I fled 10 inches, and the Gorebeast Chariot only pursued 9 inches, so the archers actually make it out of there alive, which is I'm in disbelief at this and the amount of luck that I've had with these high elves. So there we go. There's the archers being reduced and everybody's remaining flees and charges. High elf turn 6. We have, everything's out of charge range, so we move up just a little bit to kind of get into better positions, but, nothing can charge me either next turn. The only thing that the Warriors of Chaos player can do is charge the archers, who actually do rally my turn, and they reform and look like that. So, Warriors of Chaos turn, last turn of the game. The Gorebeast Chariot charges in. I elect to flee, hoping I could possibly outrun his swift stride and maybe, take my chances, press my luck a little bit, see if I end up right on the edge of the board. However, he rolls 12 inches and catches me, and I think I roll high, like a 9 or an 8 or 10. But, it's no 12 inches, so he catches me, and trolls turn around with Throg staring at me, and the other chariot of Nurgle stares at my remaining force. So when we tallied it all up, it was a victory to the High Elves, of course, but not by as much as you'd think. The High Elf player got 884 victory points, and the Warriors of Chaos player 625. Had a lot of fun doing the battle report. It actually went pretty quick. I just really had a hard time killing the Demon Prince. I've never really actually faced a Demon Prince, and this was sort of like my first time, and it's not even a true time of facing a Demon Prince, but man, is that thing killy and survivable. I'm just really fortunate that I put my Anointed in, who did not have flaming attacks, because he had the 2-up ward against flaming, which would have made him really survivable. Let me just go through some of the kit that this Demon Prince had. He had the Sword of Striking, Charm Shield, Dragon Bane, Gem, and of course he had Scaled Skin, and he had the wings, and he had the Soul Feeder. And he was rocking Lore of Death, which is really killy. My Anointed just had an Ogre Blade, so he made him somewhat formidable in combat. An Enchanted Shield, and a Lux Dome. The Dragon Mage had the Charm Shield and a Dispel Scroll and an Obsidian Trinket. It's not a whole lot of kit, but it was something that I thought was pretty minimal and useful in this battle. None of the armies were rocking a Battle Standard Bearer, which is something that I've been toying with not taking one. And I think in this particular list, against this particular matchup, both sides didn't need one. Of course, you could probably argue that it's never a bad thing, but I really wanted to just cram in as many points for having as many Frost Hearts as possible. So that's the battle report. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. One last little bit of like a treat. What just came out today on the Twitter feed. looks like Wood Elves are indeed coming soon to a Games Workshop store near you and online. And look at this tree man with the sword. This looks amazing. I have a few more pics if you want to see. Here's a picture of what looks like one of the heroes. He's got like a hawk or a falcon or some sort of bird. I love the antlers on this. I really love the Wood Elf direction that this is going with the new Wood Elf army. As a Wood Elf player, I'm super excited, and I've been waiting for these guys for a long time. Now look at that tree man. It just looks so cool. Yeah, it's completely different from what, was shown in like previous editions, but I'm digging it. I'm digging the new style. I think it's a good change. Here we go. One last picture. Here's a tree man ancient. Let's see the picture. All right, here we go. Look at that tree man. Giant staff or thing. Look at the claws. That just looks amazing. So, that's the battle report. Thanks for watching, guys.